Hello everyone and welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast even. The Jekyll and Hyde performance levels from Rangers continue, but Beale keeps up an almost perfect record report card even for his start as Rangers manager. I am Scott Carney and joining me tonight is everybody. Alistair, how are you, mate?
Very well. It's quite a long while to wait for Rangers because it's Sunday this week at 4 o'clock as well, so it's even longer. So, I don't like these. I like having a midweek game like we did against Hearts there. So there's no midweek games till 8th of March or something. So that's what it is.
I'm extremely selfish that midweek games at Ibrox, especially for me, are a nightmare. So I am very much glad that there isn't midweek games. I'm quite a fan of weekend football. Scotia, how are you?
Hi guys, I'm alright. Yeah, I am a wee bit like Ali. I would say that I'm missing the midweek games already, and we're not even midweek into the week as it is. We're only into Tuesday, and I'm still gasping for another game of football to watch Rangers.
Yeah, Ryan, your thoughts? Do you like weekend football, or are you missing the midweek too?
Saturday 3 o'clock, or I'm not having it, boys. Simple as that.
I still want the Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I still want the Saturday, but I could take it or leave it. If it's midweek Champions League, then they can play it anytime. I'm loving it. But it's good. I'm glad to see Ali and Scotia because I missed their. I usually like a wee video call off them on a Saturday night, and I missed their calls on Saturday. So it's good to see that they're home and safe because I'm sure they were slightly intoxicated on Saturday night.
There was one voice note in particular on Saturday night where Ali just sounds like a different person. I was just like, yeah, he's singing 4 songs at the one time. I'm like, I don't even know where he's going with that.
They're my favourite.
To be fair, I'd had a few as well by the time I got home, to be fair. Maybe needed it to get through that. Before we get to the Rangers stuff, just a shameless plug as always. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are getting closer to 4,000 subscribers, which is absolutely bonkers. So if you could subscribe, that would really help us out. And if you want to go a step further to support the channel, you can join the channel for as little as 99p, and then you can also buy the podcast a coffee and join the Coffee by Legend membership via buymeacoffee.com. All the links for that are below. Also, please leave your comments as we generally do love to interact with you. Our wee Club at 22 community, it's always good to hear your views up against ours. So, Club Deck Corner this week, we will dig a little deeper, I think, into Beale's start as Rangers manager, and we start with the last game, which was the 2-1 win against Ross County. Not a game that was ever in any real doubt after watching it back, but we didn't make hard work of it. Goals from Tillman and Borna Barisic got us home with 3 points. But Ryan, it was a performance that was as welcome as a needle in the eye, mate.
Oof. Back to the struggle. I really, as you know, enjoyed myself on Wednesday night. I loved it. I thought the football we played was just what you want to see from a Rangers team, breaking the lines, everything you want to see. And I was excited to go to Ibrox on Saturday. I thought, I wasn't thinking we've turned a corner, but I thought surely pennies dropped. That's how you play football against these teams. That was back to it again, mate. It was back to safe pass, and it was back to. They had a few spells where they were breaking the lines, but we're miles off where we want to be, let's be honest. And I think Beale even says that, yeah, it's another win, and he's doing fantastic, Beale. There's no doubt about that. We're going to talk about that this evening, but just such a hard watch for everyone. You can just feel it. Ibrox, they're so hard to watch. There's nobody really grabs the game by the balls. Kent, you could possibly say, does. He's been given that free roll, had that really good shot off the crossbar. See when that Ross County went 1 each, Carney, I could hear Ali in my head. We've seen this story before. We've seen it all before. And we have. As soon as they scored, I was like, here we go again. Like, goalkeep mistake, defence mistake. We don't do well enough to keep the crosses coming in. And I thought we were going to pay for it. I had a bad feeling that we weren't going to win on Saturday once they went 1 each. I thought they're going to hold out here. They're going to get it. And thankfully, Borna Barisic, one of his misplaced crosses, goes in off the wall again. So whether he's claiming it or not, I'm not sure. The Moth didn't say to me when I was at his house on Saturday night, but thankfully, Borna did step up, and thankfully it did go in the back of the net because it was starting to feel like that depression setting over Ibrox again. But yeah, we got the 3 points, and that's all that matters.
It's all that matters. Ali, do Ross County deserve some credit? As I say, after watching it back, they weren't exactly sitting in. They were very organised defensively, to be fair. But I still, do they deserve credit for that, or are we at fault as well for looking forward to going to Ibrox on a Saturday?
I don't think we're at fault for looking forward to going to Ibrox after Wednesday night. I think we're well within our rights to look forward to. You need to give Ross County credit. Yeah, they were organised. They didn't sit in as much as I don't know, a Livingston may do, but they had a go at times. I thought they were decent enough, but we should be able to take care of Ross County and Ibrox on a big pitch on a Saturday at 3 o'clock. I mean, come on. There was too many. I look back at the highlights a wee bit. We were probably more comfortable than us sitting at Ibrox thought we were, to be honest. There was too many touches for me round about the box, wanting that extra touch rather than having a shot out. I mean, how many times is Ryan going on about having a shot outside the box? And we all do. You never know what's going to happen, but there was too many touches for me. And then, I was the same as Ryan at one each. I thought, how can you go for Wednesday night to that? It'd be a typical Rangers thing to do, really, if we drop points there. But we didn't, so you need to give them credit. I know Scotia said he thought, regardless if Barisic had scored that free kick, he thought we probably would have got the second. I don't know the way it was going. I'm not so Scotia's sure. Mr. Positive in a podcast, but I'm not too sure. But again, it's 3 points for Michael Beale. And if somebody said to me at the beginning of the season, would you want to win every game of the season like this and you win a league title and stuff, I'll take it. But from what we've seen on Wednesday night, you thought, as Ryan said, we're turned a screw here and then fallen back a wee bit again. But yeah, I think the introduction of new players coming forward, which you'll come on to, will help us moving forward though.
Yeah, Scotia, is it just one of those days at the office on Saturday where it just didn't click and maybe we were built up to believe that we were going to witness a performance at Ibrox that we could really get excited about? Because it has been a while since we've had one at Ibrox where we're really get off our seats excited, if that makes sense. So is it just one of those days at the office, or is there cause for concern?
I don't think there's cause for concern. It'd be interesting. It'd be really interesting to go back and see how the game would have panned out had Lundstrom not get injured and get pulled off. Because obviously he gets pulled off after 10 minutes, and then he brings Tillman on. So you look at that team, and that's a team that I think we'd all been screaming out. You want to see just one of Jack, Lundstrom or Kamara sitting there, and then the rest go forward and play. I think we were maybe a wee guilty of, bit like Ali was saying there, of overplaying it. We've created a decent number of sort of opportunities and chances, but it was just taking it that wee bit too far. I think Tillman was slightly guilty at that at points in the first half, but we were creating those chances. So it would have been interesting to see how that game had developed had it been with the two sort of sitting midfielders, as it were, rather than just the one. Whether that would have changed how your likes of Cantwell was going to play and things. So I don't know. I think it is just one of those days at the office because Ross County, they're 1 point, or they were 1 point above relegation, or the bottom of the league at that point on Saturday, but they aren't a team that sit in too much. They do come out and kind of give a go when they have the opportunities to give it a go. So you do have to give credit to Malky Mackay for that. But as I said at the weekend, I thought even though it looked unlikely that we were scoring, we still had 25 minutes or so to get in a winner, and I thought we would, because I did think we were creating enough opportunities.
Yeah, Ryan, Beale mentioned after the game, he was asked, we were all expecting Kamara to come on for Lundstrom. I do think the Tillman substitution was welcome, maybe, that we've all been desperate to see it, but for some reason I just felt like it upset the balance of the team slightly and we struggled to hit a rhythm. Players occupying the same bits of the park. And again, that's probably as well a thing with Cantwell learning his other teammates. But I did feel at points that we were kind of crossing over each other. What was your thought on the Tillman substitution for Lundstrom?
When it was originally made, I was glad because it was an attacking player. When I first seen the team, I thought here we go, too many centre defensive midfielders, too many guys who do the same job in terms of Jack and Lundstram. I don't think you need to play both of them at home to a team like Ross County. No disrespect to them, I just think you've got to think of the big picture and what we're looking to achieve this season and what they're looking to achieve and looking at the personnel that we've got compared to them. So when Tillman come on, I thought that's a positive, but I totally think you make a great point that it did look congested and I couldn't really work out what our system was and what we were doing the final third. And I think you can see it with the players as well. Sometimes I think you can see Cantwell as a bit of a floater, but he was dropping off sometimes and sitting deep. And I don't know if it was because he felt it was too congested as well. But it's maybe been that Beale's hand's been a bit forced and he's thought, I've maybe got this wrong. I will put an attacker on, but not really thought how it's going to work out. So it might be a learning for him that he can't really play all those players on the pitch at the same time unless he comes up with some sort of system that works, because we are very much, as I always say, focused around Alfredo Morelos as our centre striker, so it needs to work. Just to touch on Lundstram, obviously it's not great to see any player get injured, but Lundstram, if you remember, during that game got injured because of one of his horror passes. He gave the ball away and we had to chase Ross County down. And unfortunately got injured through that, but it just kind of, he played well on Wednesday, but unfortunately kind of sums Lundstram up this season. He's just got himself in a situation and ended up injured through it. But I at first happy with Tillman coming on, but it didn't really work, mate.
No, Ali, I don't think it did really work, and I think obviously John Lundstram, I'd never want a Rangers player to get injured, and I hope it's nothing too serious. But I mean, a wee rest out of the team for him. All of us have been screaming for it for Lundstram, and again, I'm not. Trust me, people that are listening to this and watching this back, and I'm not being negative here because we are going to come on to much positive things. It's just we're analysing the game as we seen it on Saturday. In my opinion, I just disagree completely with the fact that Kamara has played 2 games recently, the best 2 games we've seen him play in I don't know how long, and then he doesn't get a start on Saturday. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I personally would have played Kamara. I thought he was outstanding on Wednesday. He was head and shoulders above everyone else in the park because everyone was good that night, but he was a shining light. I thought he was brilliant. To me, give him a run in the team, especially what's happening at the end of this month. We've got a big game at the end of the month, so we need to look to that game. I would have played him. Lundstram, this probably might help him in the long run. In a bizarre way of saying it, it looks like he's rolled his ankle or something. Interesting to see what's happened. If that's ligaments, he's out for a while. I know that myself because I've done that same injury twice in my ankle. So, yeah, interesting to see what happens with Lundstram going forward. But yeah, I would have played Kamara as well. I did think, like Ryan, when Tillman come on, I was like, no, this is good. One set midfield or Tillman's coming on, an attacking player. But I agree with you. I think it upset the balance. And I said to you at half-time and in the post-match, Cantwell for me was picking balls up off the centre-halves and that. And it just looked like they didn't really know where to be. Some of the players, they were getting on top of each other. And Cantwell's game isn't picking a ball up off a centre-half. He needs to be further up the park for me. So it did upset the rhythm of the team, I thought, as well. Aye.
Yeah, if he's picking up the ball from the centre half, then you're missing out your deep line midfielder. It's going straight from him and missing out that line and going straight to Cantwell. I agree. I thought he was far too deep. Scotia, though, I will finish on the Ross County game as we speak about Cantwell. Another impressive performance by him, and I do think, as I say, this is him only getting up to speed, and I hate getting carried away with myself because every time I do, it usually comes back and hits me in the face. Matondo being the perfect example of that, but I'm really excited to see more of Cantwell. I think he looks like a baller.
Yeah, well, the thing with Cantwell as well is you've now seen him for 2 and a bit games for us, really. Whereas with Matondo, you've only really seen that happen in a friendly game. But no, Cantwell, again, was impressive. I mean, one of the, not worries that I had, but it was just given the length of time that he hadn't played first-team football, obviously with the World Cup break and stuff, I was a wee bit concerned that him coming in, it might take him a couple of games to get up to speed, but he's got up to speed straight away, which is really good to see, really impressive. He was fairly unlucky with that shot that was just over the bar, or maybe even just clipped the top of the bar in the first half. But then he does brilliantly to kind of work it back for Tillman to get the first goal. Yeah, Cantwell's impressed me as soon as he's come in, and he's going to be giving Beale a big headache because Sakala's not done much to get dropped. You can't really drop Kent. And then obviously you've got Tillman there as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Beale, I mean, we have said this, how will Beale cope to fit all these players in? But no, Cantwell's been fairly impressive for me so far.
Especially with your man Hadji and Lawrence still to really come back to the team kind of full time.
To be fair, I think those two players are longer term comebacks though, aren't they? I don't really expect, certainly not Lawrence and Hadji. It wouldn't be until later on in February, March time that I expect to see him getting up to speed, as it were, because he's been out with that injury though.
Yeah, he's been out for a long time, and we still don't actually have a date for when Lawrence is coming back, but that'll be like another football cliche alert. That'll be like another new signing when we eventually get him back. Ryan, we'll move on slightly from it. Now, I love winning games of football, mate. I love when my team win games of football. It's what it's all about for me. However, are we as a fan base right now getting too hung up on performances and not actually witnessing the run that this team are on, or really giving credit the team for the run that they're on? Because it's a pretty impressive record since Beale's came in. I mean, it's almost perfect. Or is the performance thing the stigma of being 9 points behind, if that makes sense?
I'm going to do something that I'd never usually do in this pod, if I ever have done it. And I'm going to sit in the fence with this one. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to it. I think it's easy as Rangers fan. I'm one of them. I'm sitting there going, this isn't good enough. It needs to be better. We need to be winning games with style against Ross counties and teams lower down, and we need to be doing them because that shows our intent as title challengers. It shows that we are not pushovers. But then you'll get the side who are, look, Beale's won every game apart from one against them, which we could have won. And we played decent at times, and looking back in that game, yeah, we could have won it. So it is all about winning games. It doesn't matter how you win them. We've all seen Walter Smith win titles with playing pretty poorly. But caveat to that is we're playing poorly and we're 9 points behind them. I think a lot of fans are not enjoying that. We're not seeing maybe signs of improvement or cutting the gap, but unstaunch points here, there's a lot of credit has to go to that lot because they ain't dropping anything. That's simple as that. So Beale's doing well, very well, and he's doing it, going about his business quietly, but there is a lot of work to be done with this team. I think needs to be a shift in mentality with them because I think they are not ruthless enough. I think they are happy to play keep ball far too many times instead of breaking the lines and having a go. And I'm happy with Beale. I'm happy with the way things are going, but he needs to make big changes in the summer for us to be where I think we all want to be. So, yes, I'm getting splinters in my bum, mate, by sitting in this fence.
Yeah, look, mate, I get it. Ali, I was not a happy man at full time Saturday, I'm not going to lie. I didn't enjoy that second half at all. I thought we were really poor. The only real thing in the second half was Kent's shot and obviously Borner's goal, but that was it. There was very little else happening in that half. It was Rangers just in the autopilot mode and overplaying things. What's your opinion, mate? Are we getting too hung up on performance levels just now, or is there a valid argument in it? I mean, the important thing is winning games, and is it the fact that we're frustrated that they are not dropping points when we are winning pretty much every game?
Probably, yeah. I mean, his record's fantastic. It should be 100%, if I've been honest about it. If somebody come in and told you his record before he came in and says this is what we're going to be at this point, regardless of what they've done, you would have grasped it and went, that's fantastic. You need to remember, a lot of these players are still the Gio players, if you want to say, that we had at the beginning of the season that faltered so many times. He is getting a tune out of several players, which you'll come on to in terms of who's getting a tune out of, but he's only brought Cantwell and
Raskin,
as his own men who haven't kicked a ball, the two of them, for a couple of months. So I'm not going to judge him until the summer, until he brings his own team in. He's got a pre-season with him. and we see what happens next season. But he's done fantastically well. I agree with Ryan. I don't look at the other side anymore. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, they're right, St Johnstone Sunday." You never know, but I'm the same boat as Ryan. You need to. It's hard to say because you don't like to say, but you need to give them credit. They're going out and they're doing teams. They are.
Yeah, they are.
Regardless of what we do, they ain't dropping points. Yeah, I know we've got 2 old firms coming up, and you never know what will happen. But the way they're playing it, they're not dropping points, and that is credit to them, unfortunately. But we are doing as much as we can do at the moment, and that's winning football matches, and that's all we need to do till the end of the season is win football matches. If the performances are there, brilliant. But I'm not going to judge it until the summer, until he's got his own team in and he works out who's staying and who's going in the summer as well. But it's a lot more positive than it was under Gio at the beginning of the season when we had a lot of dodgy results. So people need to remember where we were at that point. So yes, I'm more than happy at the moment, but being greedy as we all are, of course I would love a performance like Hearts every week, but that's football, unfortunately. Hearts set up attacking Wednesday night, which suited Rangers. A lot of teams don't do that against Rangers. You see them come to Ibrox and they go to Parkhead as well and sit in a wee bit, and it's hard to break down. We just struggle with these teams at times. But no, I'm positive moving forward with Beale and delighted so far with him.
Yeah, well, so am I. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I am. I don't think I even imagined myself, and I think I built the Beale train before I got on it and became captain of it. So I was all for it, and yeah, the start's been great on paper with the wins. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Scotia, can you give an answer to it? Are the fan base maybe forgetting about winning, or the importance of winning, and getting too hung up on the performance levels just now?
No, not really. I'm kind of with Ryan in this one, and what you said at the start is all this is dictated in where you are in the league, really, and we wouldn't be having this same conversation. You know, I think about back to the game up at Pittodrie when Arfield scored those 2 goals late on. After that game, if we were sitting top of the tables, we'd be coming out going, "No, that's sign of champions." Whereas because you're behind, you don't say that. So I think right now we do need a performance to kind of, so that the fans have got something to pin their sort of hat on and go, "No, we can look at this. This is how we can play. And we can do this." Because in general, with Rangers, a good performance by Rangers inevitably means that it's a win. Whereas it's not quite the same the other way around. A good result for Rangers doesn't necessarily mean we've played well. Look at the weekend, for example, in that one. So I do think we need that good performance for us as fans to kind of pin our hopes on that and say, "No, we can reach these levels." Because if you think back to Gio, what happened under him, he came in, got a bounce out the team, decent results, and then in the European performances maybe masked over an awful lot of that. Because I know Ryan was starting to say, "Oh, you look at them in the league, the performance levels started dropping off. And I mean, Ryan was quite early saying about Gio not going like, "I don't see what he's trying to do here. I don't see what he's trying to do." So I do think we need a performance level, because Ali makes the point there that you could maybe call that Gio's team. There was one player in that starting lineup that was not signed under Beale and Gerrard and Ben Davies. So the team as well, you could argue that team's still a big chunk of that's a Beale Gerrard team. So I think we need a couple of performances, because it's a running theme that we've had with the team saying that sometimes we don't trust their mentality. That I think we need a couple of decent performances to lift us up then. And then, yeah, if we're where we are in the league, then the results become more important when you're in front.
Yeah, Ryan, I agree with what you said earlier as well, that we are not ruthless enough against teams. That's for absolute sure. I thought on Wednesday night Rangers were. I thought we were on it. I honestly thought, obviously it was helped by the way Hearts were playing football against us, but I just thought Rangers were just, no matter what, Rangers were winning that game, and we just came out of traps, didn't give them a minute to breathe, and I genuinely thought Rangers were terrific, by far the best we've seen under Beale. There's absolutely no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But as I say, Scotia makes a point about the team, and I agreed with Ali when he was saying it. He was like, "I'll wait till he gets his team in." I'm going, "Yeah, it's not his team." But then, as I say, Scotia makes that comment, and he's right. There's a lot of these players that Beale knows, has worked with, and probably would have him in his team. So the biggest thing probably going forward, mate, and yes, we've questioned the mentality before, especially under Gio. The mentality of the team was so defeatist. It was like, if things are going wrong, we'll just not be able to react to it. But this team have, and they've let us peer behind the mask that they've kind of had on themselves. They've let us peer in. We've seen glimpses of it. Beale's hardest job right now is to make sure that is happening all the time. Discuss, mate.
I think this was probably one of my fears of Beale being the manager, is because he's worked with these majority of these players and also brought them in as well. I think if you look at it from a board's point of view, they probably hope that he can get performances out of Glenn Kamara, who wasn't playing well, Borna Barisic, who wasn't playing well, Alfredo Morelos. We could name another couple, and I know we're going to. But I think that was maybe my fear with that. What I also fear is that I don't think this is a new manager bounce. I think we're past that stage now. I think it's well past that. I think you can see what he's trying to do, and the players are passing the ball forward, which I've always criticised him for, playing the safe pass too much. So you can see what he's trying to do. But what I do worry, mate, is that we're back on the merry-go-round, that we're going round in circles again. And yes, it's nice winning games, and we are on a run, and it is. But to be the Money fan and get off the fence, where were these players? Why were they not doing this under pressure when we were chasing the league title? And folk will say in the comments when they watch this, we are still chasing the league title. That's fine, okay, but where were we when we were 2 points behind Celtic, when we were every week just looked as if we were desperate to throw the league title away? And that's where I would challenge the mentality of these players, and that's where I hope Beale is having a real look at them in their eyes when they're coming off the pitch, when times are hard, when it was hard on Saturday. I hope he's looking at these players and going, do you know what, I'm having you, but you are one of the reasons why this club isn't where it should be. And hopefully that's what he's doing, his own assessment, which we all hoped Gio would do this time last year as well, and that didn't materialise. But I think I'm not going to get too ahead with how Rangers are playing, surprise, surprise, because I'm always glass half full. But I just think I'm cautious that the mentality is still a bit of a problem and it needs addressed, and whether that's funding or bringing in better quality players. But I'm still not overly excited. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, Ali, I've kind of muddled things back a wee bit, and we're probably on to the point of what improvements still need to be made within the team before we actually discuss what we're happy with what Beale's done. Would you go along with that? Probably the biggest task that he has on his hands right now is not altering the mentality of the team to be, we are better than you, we were constantly going to be on you, we're going to go for you, and we're going to steamroll over the top of teams. Because I genuinely believe if Rangers play the football that we know we can play that fast football, we can play the forward passes, we can be brave on the ball, we can get in teams' faces, there's not really a team in this league that's going to be able to cope with us.
No, we need to be more clinical. The thing that annoys me with Rangers is I've said it 100 times, we seem to go 1-2 up in a game and just motor back
and just
piss
cruise,
about with it.
Yeah.
And usually what happens is we go 2 up, because the game's done, muck about with it, and then we ship a goal out of nowhere, and then it's panic stations for the last 10 minutes. We've seen that movie 100 times. And I hate, you need to look across the other side of the side, because they're our main challengers in this league. They go out and do teams. And they've always done that, but they go out and do teams. We don't seem to do that. Against Hearts was one of the first times I've actually looked at Rangers and went, no, they look in the mid. They look like they want to go and do a team here. They kept going and kept going. We sat and watched that game, Carney, and we were waiting for the lull. We were waiting for it to stop, and it didn't. And we were also well talked to each other after the game and, God, that was a 90-minute performance for Rangers. You don't get that. That's what he needs to get going forward. And basically that performance against Hearts, 90 minutes, and we need to go at teams. Don't let teams come at us, go at teams and put them to bed. And we're just not ruthless enough. I still think we need a striker going forward as well, but we just lack that ruthless edge. But I look at players like Cantwell coming in. I think he's going to be very positive moving forward. We've not talked about the boy Raskin yet as well. I thought his 10-minute cameo, brilliant, exactly what I want to see. So it's positive going forward, but for next season, Aye, like Ryan says, he needs to look in the eyes of these guys and say, do you want to be here? Do I trust you? Because he needs to build a winning Rangers team. Yeah, we've won 55 a couple of years ago. We've won the Scottish Cup. We got to European final, which is brilliant. But they need to win trophies on a regular basis, this Rangers team. And he needs to build that with these players. So that's a challenge for him next season. It's not going to be easy because you're going up against, let's be honest, a Celtic team that are winning most trophies at the moment. They have for God knows how many years. So it'll be difficult, but it's there for them. But that's what we need to do. We need to become more ruthless and just take it to these teams, because with how many points have we dropped on our own doing this season and last season as well? It's all the time. So that's the cause for me, and that's what he needs to look at going forward.
Yeah, Scotia, Beale, knowing the way he is and the way that he talks, the way he speaks to the media, I think he'll be delighted the fact that it started the way it has. He is still unbeaten as a Rangers manager, and he himself is probably just as confused about sometimes the way this team go, the Jekyll and Hyde that I mentioned at the start of the pod, because that's exactly what it is. It must be very frustrating for him, but again, I do think, I believe in what he's trying to do. I believe that the way he'll coach players will get the best out of the players. I'm just not 100% sure with the players that we do have there, if there is, I don't want to be over the top here, but they've not won as much as they should, and that's going to wear heavy on some players more than others.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a list of the kind of main squad here, and you look at it and you think, no, you should have won, like you say, far more over, because some of them have been here for 3 coming on 4 years now, and they've got, what, 2 trophies? 2 trophies?
Even like Tavernier and Goldson, you can fling into that as well, mate. They should have won more.
Oh, no, definitely. I can already hear people in the comments going, oh, imagine we get Beale in that couple of weeks before what we broke for the World Cup. Because it was those 3 results that kind of derailed the season in terms of the league, really, wasn't it? But it was one of these ones that was always inevitable. But yeah, so what was your question? Sorry, I didn't really get what you were.
I don't even know what was my question. What was I talking about? Just that as it. I believe Beale can get the best out of players by coaching them, but is there too much build-up of losing or not winning as much as they should have in some players? And is there probably a bigger rebuild here than we think?
In terms of a rebuild, I've seen people float out the idea of, we need to get about 8-9 different players in the next transfer window, which I do get in terms of a refreshment of the squad. But I sit and look at the team and I'm like, right, who are those 8 or 9 players that you're going to be shipping out the door? Who are the 8 or 9 that you're going to bring in with all with maintaining your budget and things like that? So I think in terms of a rebuild, yes, we will see a bit of freshness coming in, I would imagine, in the summer. But I look at the players there and we speak about them all every week, and I can see that they can go on and do it. This is where Beale's coaching needs to come to the fore, really, for me. That he needs to be able to get it out of them, and we're potentially seeing small signs of that starting under Beale. But yeah, it comes back to your question. The whole team, as it is, hasn't won enough over the last couple of years, and Beale really needs to. These 2 cups coming up, the ideal opportunity for him to kind of prove that.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect scenario for every Rangers fan this season, is the fact that we walk away with these 2 cups. Right, we'll move on to more upbeat things. I don't mean to sound like we're being negative. I don't mean it like that. I think we're just trying to kind of dig a little deeper into what we're seeing and what we think the problems may be for Beale going forward. But the things that Beale has improved, I think the 2 signings off the top of my head, mate, are definitely 2 signings that if he's had a say in them, which he says he has had a say in, then I'm very impressed with the 2 that he's decided to bring in, because we've seen Raskin for 10 minutes and immediately I was like, I know exactly why you've been brought here, and he was a player I was extremely excited about. In terms of everything else, mate, that we've seen under Beale, what's impressed you the most, and what do you think's the biggest improvement that's been made?
I think the positives outweigh the negatives heavily.
Definitely.
I think you can see that even with the existing players. that I've already listed off. I think Cantwell for me, I said it when he signed, I didn't want to get excited, but I've got a good feeling about him because it's probably scar tissue with Ramsey, but I like the look of him. I do like the look of him. You can see whether or not this is his game. I remember watching him a couple of years ago with Norwich when he was really good, but I've not seen him since, if I'm being honest. But you can see what he's been told to do in this team. He ain't interested in that square ball. If he can play the ball through the channel or through into the forwards or somebody running on to the spaces in the pitch, then he'll do it. He constantly does that. If you just look at the highlights of him, he's constantly trying to pass the ball forward. I think that'll be something Beale's identified. I think a guy in a building site will be able to identify that's required with this Rangers team. And no offence to anybody that works in a building site, I used to do it myself. Raskin, yes, he lost the ball right in front of me as soon as he came on, and he went and won it back straight away. Took somebody on, ran forward with the ball, passed the ball forward, and I thought, geez, you'll never last here. You'll never last. If you're trying to play football and you've got desire, then nah, you're not for us. He looks, yeah, it was 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was, but he looks tasty. He just looks hungry for the ball, and unfortunately, mate, that sticks out in this team. I hate saying that, but it does. He just looked so ready. I know it's his debut, but he just looked so up for it. And yes, more of that, please. He can start whenever he wants. But just to touch on it again, Beale has brought the best out in players who weren't performing, and that's a criticism on those players. They shouldn't. Putting that shirt on should be enough to get yourself up for it, to put a performance in. You shouldn't need somebody to put your arm around you and go, "Come on, you're a good footballer." But Glenn Kamara, Alfredo Morelos, who turned up on Wednesday for the first time in this season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Borna Barisic has been playing well, and there'll be another couple that I've not mentioned. Ryan Kent. I mean, I'll be honest, I've U-turned with Ryan Kent, mate. I really have. If we can get a contract, I want him to sign it because I can see a different guy. He's creating things, and he's unlucky at times as well. I genuinely feel as if he's just totally changed his game about. So the positives, they totally outweigh the negatives for me. I'm quite excited what Beale's done with the team. But yeah, it's more of that, please. More of that, and the signings are definitely the quality and the level of signings we'll want to see.
Yeah, Ali, I think one of the biggest things I'm most impressed with is the free role, the hybrid player, this new word that I'm figuring out in football, the hybrid 10, the hybrid 8, whatever it's going to be, but it's the freedom that it looks like the players have, and there is no doubt the change have been took right off Ryan Kent, and he can literally do what he wants. I think that's the biggest praise I can give Beale just now, is he is letting the players play their game, especially attackingly.
Yeah, no, I said that a while ago that the Geo team to me was more rigid and told to kind of stick within their positions. You've seen Ryan Kent, he was kind of told to hug a touchline quite a lot of the time, but now he's off the leash, Ryan Kent. I should say, look at his heat map, Ryan Kent, he's everywhere. He's all over the park. He's picking balls up for centre halves. He's all over the park, left to right. You've seen him at the weekend playing in the middle of the park. He's just... You couldn't man mark Ryan Kent because he's just everywhere. I'm the same as Ryan. I said months ago I would let him and Alfie go in the summer with their contracts. But the way he's playing at the moment, Ryan Kent, we couldn't replace him. To sign somebody with the big bucks to replace him. He's too good. He's at a good age, Ryan Kent. If we could get him in a contract tied down, I'd tie him down, definitely. Ellis, I'd still let Ellis go. But Ryan Kent, for me, is a must, because if you take Ryan Kent out of our team, Carney, you're looking about going, there's not much there. I know you've got young Tillman there. Cantwell, I think it will be a baller. He looks decent. He's more up to speed than I thought he would be, as Scotia said. Another positive, as you were talking about, there was the boy Raskin coming on. I thought he was, as Ryan was saying, he stood out like a sore thumb in that middle of the park. And it's scary to say that. He's moving the ball about, demanding the ball, driving with a ball, everything we were screaming out for years in that Rangers midfield. And the boy looks like he's got it. I think Scotia said he looked like a Barry Ferguson type at the weekend. And he did. He just demanded the ball instantly. And me and Scotia were watching the boy, and I'm like, Christ, this boy looks an absolute player. I know it's 10 minutes against a Ross County team. Let's not get too carried away. But when you look at our midfield and it's so slow and pedestrian at times, and you see a boy like that come into it, I got excited about him. I didn't know much about him, I'll be honest, but the 10 minutes I've seen, I thought that's a positive. And we've identified him as well. So the two signings for me are a huge positive with Beale. The way he wants to play football moving forward, quicker attacking football, which is what we want as fans. We don't want this slow pedestrian football. So, yeah, that's for next season. I just want next season to appear now.
I know.
Play for and everything. We're still technically in the league, but I think a lot of us are looking to next season when he builds this team. But at the same time, I think Ryan's alluded to it. It's got a bit of the cliche about it when he came in. He's got the 2 cups to play for, and they're big for us this season. If he can win the 2 cups and close that gap in the league, that's a major success for him.
That would be the ultimate success, I think, for any Rangers fan. I think if we can close the gap and win the 2 cups, I think Beale couldn't have asked for a better start to his career, considering where we were, where the morale was as well, when he came in. Scotia, your thoughts on the improvements that you've seen under Beale?
Yeah, I think I'm always cautious with stuff like this because we're getting into the kind of post hoc ergo propter hoc kind of categorization of things. I just wanted to say that to see if Ali got a confused look in his face or not. But it's you know. And I've also just obviously listeners will see that I've been watching some West Wing as well recently. Yeah. But no, it's always difficult. Like, is Beale coming in? Is it the reason for all the changes? I don't think he's the reason for all the changes and improvements we've seen over the last period of time. But I do think he has been important for some of them. And one of the ones that you mentioned there is team spirit. I think the team spirit's definitely improved. But although Ryan alluded to this as well, is the players, yes, I can understand they're human beings and it's natural that this happens, but you would like to, as a football fan, you would like to think that doesn't happen to them, that they can get into that state where they need a wee bit G'd up. But obviously it does happen, but that's one of the first things, because obviously the couple of the results that we've had in the second halves coming out after games going behind, I think we would all be sitting here saying a Geo team, we wouldn't have seen that. I think I was looking back through the comments from our post-match video at the weekend there. I think someone had put in the comments as well, sorry, I can't remember who it was, but it said if that was Ross County, or if that was under Geo, when Ross County equalised, we wouldn't come out winning that. So that's definitely a big improvement that I think you can definitely nail that onto the mast with Beale for. And then I mentioned it on Friday night as well, the fitness levels seem to be starting to get there now, which maybe wasn't hugely evident at the weekend there because it turned into that type of game, but I've certainly noticed that the fitness levels have been improving.
Yeah, absolutely no doubt. And I meant to say, as we were talking about Raskin, fix your socks, son. Fix your socks. I think he's seen it on social media. He got pretty slated for it because when he came on, I was like, why does he get white socks on? I was like, something to get him told that's not acceptable. But if he's going to play out his skin, he can wear whatever colour socks he wants as long as they're not green. Ryan, to finish up, what I'll do is, who's been your most improved player? And if you can pick one, who's been the most disappointing player since Michael Beale's took over?
Most improved is probably a toss-up. He's might be shocked here. It's probably a toss-up between Bornat and Ryan Kent. And I'll be honest, I can always take it in the chin. I'll go with Ryan Kent since he's got a good first name.
Is the moth standing beside you with a gun to your head, mate? Is he actually standing?
No, he is not standing beside me, and he is a great person. I'm being honest. I think Borna Barris has definitely upped his game. I think he's shown what he can do. He just seems to have a different mentality, and that is Beale. But Borna's always been that. He's very good at talking in press conferences and what he's going to do and what the mentality is at Rangers. But sometimes on the pitch, you're the softest player I've ever seen in my life. So he obviously needs a manager to put the arm around him and kind of guide him. But he's played well. There's no taking it away from him, and he deserves a bit of praise. But Ryan Kent, for me, is a different player. Like I said, I've U-turned on him. I put my hands up, and I was the same as Ali. Let him go whenever he wants. It's just not worked for us anymore this season with Ryan Kent. We need to let him go. But now I've U-turned on that. The role he's been given looks like someone who's enjoying his football again. doesn't look that frustrated figure where I think under Gio he was clearly told to hit the byline and cross it in. I don't think that's Ryan Kent's game. I think he likes to run into the middle of the pitch. I think he needs to float sometimes. I think he needs to come from deep. So he's the most improved player without a doubt. I think there's only one player I can give this to is Tavernier in terms of who's struggling. I don't want to use the word shocking. His performances have been... what I will say is I think we've seen the best of James Tavernier. I've not heard anyone else say that yet. I just don't see where he goes now. He's still stepping up and taking these penalties, and kudos to him for doing that because it takes work to do that. He's been absolutely... I picked him this season for Player of the Year, mate, and how wrong was I with that one? I think he's been really, really, really poor. That's all I'll say.
There's a podcast in James Tavernier, mate. I think. I don't think there's really any doubt. Right, Ryan, Ali, you're most improved, and who's your most disappointing since Beale's come in?
I was quite happy to see your Ryan say about Borna there.
Same, actually. That's why it's good we've got that in camera and everything too. So the moth is there. Yeah, moth is there.
There's a lot. Ryan Kent's the obvious one. He's the real. I mean, he is. He's what he's got at Ryan Kent's unbelievable. Borna Barisic, I mean, Scotia were talking about Barisic the other day, and me and Scotia said he's up there for Player of the Season. I know Ryan's maybe not that far up with him, but
in terms of his stats, though, his assists are right up there. Yeah,
he is. But I'll pick somebody slightly left field because he's not played a lot of games under Beale. But what I've seen the last couple of games under him, he's a guy that I've seen under Beale previously. Kamara for me. Glenn Kamara under Gio and this season looked like a guy that just did not want to be here. I said his two pals in Aribo and Bassi had disappeared. His days look numbered at Ibrox, really, Kamara. And the last couple of games he's come in, I've given him man of the match the last two games. Obviously not the game of the weekend because he didn't really come on for long, but I thought he was brilliant. And he's got, 2 years left in his contract, Kamara? 2 and a bit years left in his contract. I don't know what we do with him next season, but see when he plays the way he played against Hearts, Carney, what a Rolls Royce that player. He
was sensational.
Unplayable at times, and I think Beale's one of the only guys that can get that out of Kamara because Gio couldn't. He just looked like a guy who didn't want to be here. So for me, Kamara, and going forward, I think Glenn Kamara could have a big say, especially in the 2 cups going forward. Just the way he plays. And you look at the cups, we've got Celtic in the League Cup final, and with a potential of, if we get to the final of Scottish Cup, we'll probably meet them again. Let's be honest about it. The way they play, I think Glenn Kamara's set up to play against them. So I think Glenn Kamara going forward. Disappointment. I'd love to say Matondo, but Matondo's not had a chance, so I'm not going to say that. So, disappointment. John Lundstrom. I thought he might get something out of John Lundstrom, but as Ryan said, John Lundstrom's season just went bad to us at the weekend there when he got injured. He's not kickstart at all under Beale. Yes, I thought he played well against Hearts, but the whole team played well against Hearts. But Lundstrom, for me, laboured in the ball, passing slow. He gives it too many balls away. He slows our team down too many times. And for a Beale team going forward, I said Beale likes him, and I think Ryan sort of said, no, for a Beale, how Beale wants to play, you can't see Lundstrom fitting in that team. And kind of coming round to it now. When I seen Raskin at the weekend, I thought, no, that's the type of player he wants. And I look at Lundstrom, and he just labours in a ball too much for me. So he's a guy, and I thought he was fantastic during that Europa League run last season in the last 4 months or whatever it was. But he's a guy that hasn't kicked on under Beale at all for me. So he's my biggest disappointment.
Yeah, I get the argument with Tav. I do, Ryan, but mine has to be Lundstrom as well because I just don't think there's really been a reaction there. If he's injured and he's got a problem, get it fixed. Do you know what I mean? Get it fixed. Get him ready for next season if needs be. Because I'm pretty sure I picked Lundstrom to be my player of the year this season.
So did
again, how wrong was I?
You might as well give up this game, by the way.
Yeah, I know. We're not very good at this podcasting game. Before I give my most improved, which is again a wee bit left field, Scotia, who's your most improved and your most disappointed since Beale came in?
Yeah, for most improved, I think it's to me, it's fairly obvious that it's got to be Ryan Kent, because he's the one person that I could point to and say that, no, it's pretty much all because of Beale coming in that he's playing that way, because of the way that Beale's changed things. For me, the other players that will get mentioned, and maybe other ones that you might come on to, some of that's, I think maybe the injuries earlier in the season that they were playing within themselves a wee bit. Yes, Beale's helped them a wee bit, but I think there's other contributing factors behind it. So for me, Kent's the pick out one in terms of, no, Beale's definitely got a tune out of him automatically. Least disappointing, I can't disagree with Taver.
Not least disappointing.
That'd be Ryan Kent as well, wouldn't it?
Exactly, it's the same player, is it not?
Sorry. No, I can't disagree with Tav or Lundstrom, probably. But again, this isn't something would you expect Beale to get something out of them? I don't know, because they've just been really poor all season, haven't they? So, don't know. I'm going to play a wee bit of devil's advocate here. And I don't really like doing it because it's a bit speculative. We've not had enough chance to think about it. But I think, see, if you asked this question come the end of the season, do you reckon Cholak would be in and about that conversation?
Me and Carney had the conversation at the weekend about him. I think he's, I think it's a different podcast, Scotia, but I know where you're going. We had the conversation. Yeah. We had the conversation, Carney, at the weekend.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Again, it's harsh. It's harsh,
but speculative, isn't it?
Yeah, it's speculative because he has been injured. I do get that, but it's a weird one. It's a weird one. Let's give that another month or so, and then we'll come back and address that one. I think my most improved is Ryan Kent. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But one I just want to throw in there because I like to admit when I'm wrong, and I was questioning whether we should sign Tillman when he was under Gio, but I think since Beale came in, Tillman's just hit another level. I really do. I think Beale's going to take a bit of credit for that because he's now asking him to do the job that he's there to do. He doesn't have to do the unnecessary tracking back that he blatantly doesn't want to do, but that's the type of player that he is. He is that moments player in a game. And he's coming up with moments more and more often now under Beale. So, as I say, I remember sitting questioning whether we should give it more time. Let me reassess it now, reassess it later in the season. But as I say, we've still got a fair chunk to go in this season, and I would do anything Rangers should do. I believe Rangers should do anything they should to sign Tillman and keep him at the club because I think I just see him going from strength to strength. I really do. So, I would say he's very close to being most improved, and the disappointing ones are there for everybody to see. No doubt in the comments, I'd imagine probably McGregor and McLaughlin have got flung under that bus as well, I would imagine. But something slightly a bit different tonight, but something that I wanted to do with the lads now that we've had a fair bit of time to see Beale, and since we've got another podcast before we preview the game, so it was nice to do something a little bit different. So please do let us know in the comments what you made of this tonight, what your thoughts are against what we've had to say tonight. I'm really interested to see, and I'm sure a few of us will be bouncing about the comments getting involved. So for tonight, Alistair, thank you very much, mate.
No problem. Look forward to Friday to preview Partick Thistle at Ibrox.
Interesting team selections coming up.
That'll be. Well, I think he'll play a fairly strong team against that. I think he will. So it'll be interesting to see our teams for that. But no, looking forward to being in that one.
Yeah, Scotia, cheers, man.
Yeah, cheers, Carney. Cheers, guys. Cheers, listeners.
And Ryan, hosting duties on Friday. Could you swap shifts with Scotia? Is this right?
Done a shift swap. Scotia can't.
Remember that Manscaped, Ryan?
I remember the Manscaped.
So I'll do the Manscaped.
At the right place as well, mate, not at the end. Sorry, I don't think they noticed it. Sorry, we'll get away with that one.
I think we might get away with it, but yeah, I'll set an alarm for halfway through. So if you hear a noise halfway through the podcast, it's my alarm telling me to do the Manscaped, or folk jump in and remind me, whatever. I'm not overly precious with it. Thanks, mate. Enjoyed it. Been interested to see the comments on this one. As I always say, it is okay to have different opinions.
Always okay to have different opinions. As always, please do like the videos. Please do subscribe to the channel. That would be great. And if you do listen to us, whatever you do, if you could drop us a wee 5-star rating, if it would allow you to do so, then that would be very much appreciated. We will be back on Friday with Club Live as we look forward to the game against Partick Thistle. So until the end of the week, enjoy the rest of your week. We have been Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everybody.